roast, no review, because this was tough. This was hard to look at, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on it because, like, there are more important things in the world going on. Climate change, curing cancer, anything but this. First up, Addison Rae. She is wearing vintage Betsey Johnson. I believe her necklace is Dior. And now the girls have been trying to have this Dior choker moment happen for a little bit. I feel like we've seen it on Rihanna. And now Addison's trying to do it. I feel like we are going for a very like John Galliano, not Dior. Beautiful slip dress, bias cut. And then we're trying to tie in that concept with the necklace. But it's just ugly. I think the colors with the embroidery could be really sweet, but I think I don't want to say smeared fecal matter, floral motif and color palette, and then it's embroidered with crystals a la Hobby Lobby, because Michaels would never. It's just not a good dress. I just don't think it's very appealing. I don't think it works. I think the cut of it is okay, but I think whatever else is going on it is discombobulated. Too mumbo jumbo, too jumble sale. It's just, it's not good. And then again, you add on the choker, it just looks sloppy. It doesn't look like it actually was styled properly. It doesn't look like the placement of these faux rubies actually are working where they should, because they look lopsided, they look disastrous. It's not what was intended. I get what we were going for, but we just didn't deliver on that. If you're gonna do like a John Galliano reference, you'd want the dress, I don't know, to be like an actual bias cut, not just a 90s slip. There's a difference and it needs to be honored. So next up is Avani. Now she is wearing, I don't know, but I'm enjoying this Avani moment because I think it's capturing a couple of different little exciting trends that are cropping up. This whole concept of like a dip in terms of the center of a dress, curved cutouts, they're almost like gigantic scallops, is intriguing to me because it highlights more of the leg. It's like a strange handkerchief cut, but it's not really a handkerchief cut at all. It has an intriguing look about it when it comes to the hem of a dress. Also, I think the little choker moment, I don't think the hair down was the right way to go because it cuts off a lot of elongation that you would be looking to do in this sort of look. I appreciate that she's going for the trendy moments like TikTok and fashion, because I mean it's being seen both on the runway and on the For You page, so it's nice to see those things happening all together, but I don't think from the shoulders up it works. Next up is Becky G. Now she is wearing Roberto Cavalli. This I think is nice. Honestly, I think that the cutout is very Cavalli-esque. I think it's sexy. I think it's subtle. The asymmetry of it with the black sort of trim that is going all throughout. It's okay. It's not what I would particularly choose, but I think it fits into the sort of Cavalli-esque late 90s, early 2000s come up in the resurgence. I don't think that it's particularly eye-catching, but I think the high sort of slit on the side, the use of the feline little mouth head embellishments works. They're very subtle. They're just sort of there and they hold the different elements of the dress together. And in that regard, like, it's okay. I don't think it's major, but I don't think it's piss poor, so I'll take it. Next up is Charli D'Amelio. She is wearing I don't know. I tried to look. The TikTokers honestly are like, no, you will never know who we are wearing. It is so hard to find who they wear. The girls need to learn tagging, fashion brand etiquette. I get if you bought something, it's not worth it, but like, why not just tag anyway? You know what I mean? Like, helpful for me. So you have a full ruched, fitted, strapless dress, and when it gets to around the knee, it sort of flows out into a mermaid silhouette. But the issue is, I understand utilizing a sort of stretchy-ish silk, and the ruching sort of creates texture, but when it hits the knee and then it falls out, it just feels blah. The issue is it just doesn't have the same pizzazz, and it throws off the rest of the dress. And I don't know, we could have done like a cone bra moment to make it a little bit more Gaultier. Also, I feel like Charli, pull a Gaultier. I can assure you, the girls from Gaultier be like, yeah, you can pull whatever you want, babe. Like, please. I just don't think this delivers anything intriguing, and I think that's my real issue with Charli's sort of current dressing style. Dixie tries. Charli, it feels like, is just going through the motions of putting on dresses. There's no direction being built. There's no understanding. There's no storytelling. There's no narration. And I know people are going to be like, she's 17, but like, she's a dancer. She moves. That's her whole thing, you know? No, we do this every time. Where is that element? Like, where is a Mugler moment? That's all about movement. Where is a beautiful, I don't know, give her a Valentino contract too. You know, put her in like flowy, beautiful, sheer, diaphanous dresses that really would allow her to sort of have a movement element. This to me feels like an attempt at a bombshell moment, and I appreciate what we're going for here. I just don't think the dress finishes the job. It feels more shell than bomb. Next up is Chrishell Stause, and she's wearing Genny. It's a lot. It's trying to do a lot with a little. It's a cutout dress with a bow and some halter styles, and my real issue is, and you'll see throughout this video, all of the Selling Sunset women had the opportunity to deliver. No, that was not taken whatsoever. There was no, oh, I just sold like a $75 million house. This is what I bought with the money, my commission. No, an orange dress. That was trying to do too much and looks like it's, I don't know, made by bugs. Next up, we have Christine Quinn, and now I don't know what the dress is. Maybe that's a good thing. The shoes are by Shoe Dazzle, because I believe that she was like sponsored by Shoe Dazzle, which, okay. Here's my issue. I watch Selling Sunset. I watch the most recent season. And Christine in the first episode, when she's pregnant, gives a look that I could only ever hope to achieve when I am pregnant. She wore like this beautiful, it's like a jersey sort of dress that showcases the, you know, baby bump. But then she has this gorgeous sort of Balmain-esque coat. It probably is Balmain, but it has the pagoda shoulders on it. And it like delivers. It really was like, oh my God, Rick Owens if he did maternity wear. It was gorge. Where is that, Christine? Where is that? I get it, Marilyn, you're blonde, you live in Hollywood, yada, yada, yada. Great, wonderful. But like a lingerie boudoir dress and like a blase silk. The shoes are okay. The shoes are not bad. I like the shoes. And I like the fact that she's tying in the Bulgari snake necklace moment there too. And then she has, I don't know, some sort of like little pill bag. It just feels like we could have done more. We could have done something exciting. I understand it's a People's Choice Awards and like who wants to do that, but like you went, you attended, you sat through however long the show was. So like, I don't know. Why not just go for it? That's my general, you know, issue with the entirety of this red carpet though. Next up is Dorit Kemsley, and she is wearing Agent Provocateur. I appreciate that she went for it. Dorit wants to be a fashion girl. I love that for her. I appreciate that for her. The dress though, it just looks poorly done. Fabric is just not great, and Agent Provocateur is like expensive ass lingerie, so one would hope it's like quality. The silk doesn't look amazing. The cutouts I think are really fun and I appreciate that. She's really going for it. But whatever this panel is, whoever cut the pattern for this dress doesn't deserve a Christmas bonus. It's not attractive, and then the way that it's stitched to the skirt it's hideous. It looks sloppy. It looks very noticeable. It does not look attractive. And I think that's the real issue here is it's the construction mixed with fabric choice that really lends this dress to look like it's from Fashion Nova. And I think that's the real issue because somebody really probably spent a lot of time on this pattern putting this dress together. Next up is Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And I love Dwayne, national treasure, icon, legend, star. The fit though, the fit is not good. I don't know what he's trying to go for here because it's kind of like Tom Ford at Gucci men's mixed with like Raf Simons at Calvin Klein. I literally think I have a jacket like this in my The Real favorites. So there's that. I just think the shirt with the pants, it's just Saturday Night Fever, and that's great. I wish we'd gone a little bit kookier and crazier in terms of like a little flare pant. The shoes though, The Rock, you're killing me. Where's a boot? You deserve a boot. You're a boot kind of guy. I know it deep down. And then the jacket over top. Maybe wish he went for like a shearling. Yeah, I wish he had gone a little bit more full 1970s moment. Give me a little bit of a faux fur on The Rock. That would be iconic. Next up is Erika Jayne, The Pretty Mess. It's just a blah dress with like a sharp shoulder and some crystals on it. I get it. We don't have the budget we used to, but also when I watch The Real Housewives, I say to myself, say I. The budget was mismanaged. How the mighty have fallen. And clothing is the first to show that. It's just blah. It's not interesting. It's not exciting. If I was a hairstylist reactor, I'd be like, wow, the hair looks great. Yikes. Next up is Garcelle Beauvais, and she's wearing Carolina Herrera. I like the pink silk. I also love the use of the collar. I think that's really fun. I think it is a really beautiful sort of homage to Carolina Herrera herself, a legend of wearing white button-down shirts with maxi skirts. And so I think that's fun. I just don't think the rest of the look really lends itself to much. It just feels frothy silk taffeta blob. It just doesn't work. I think also utilizing the silver, it just throws a little bit, Barbie dream house. It's just not elevated. It's just very Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And I understand we love to watch it as a show, and it's really great. It's really wonderful. Does not mean that the aesthetic is something that we should continually try to achieve. The Karl Lagerfeld fingerless glove, but has a thumb finger in Swarovski crystal, is like not good. The boot, not loving there either. The necklace is okay. I like the necklace, but I just think from like the collar down, it's a roughie. I love the top. I love the collar, and that's great. You know what I mean? But the collar is only a sliver of the look. Next up is Gigi Gorgeous. Listen, does she look beautiful in a sheer lace dress? Absolutely. Do I wish that she did something a little bit more interesting in terms of lace? Absolutely. I mean, iconic Prada collection. Black lace. Legendary. She's like a beautiful white woman who has a gorgeous body, and so she can wear a sheer black lace dress, and that's great. And I love that for her. I'm so happy for her, but like, I want more. Next up is Gottmik. Gottmik is wearing Roberto Cavalli. Is an intriguing moment. I appreciate Gottmik and Simone, both from Drag Race, are Cavalli girls. I love that for them. Do I love the debutante ball gown with tiger faces? No. The slit on a ball gown too is a little bit hard to conceive. I understand it's trying to like make this sort of very sexy, sex appeal, bombshell sort of Cavalli history with a little bit more of a formal, conservative silhouette, and that's appreciable, but I think it needs to be fine-tuned 100%. I think it needed to be fine-tuned when it first came out. Again, the mixing of the patterns and the prints, not only is it very sort of Cavalli, it's also very Fausto Puisi, who is the current creative director. So like, again, I get where it's coming from, and there is an aesthetic that people love and people want and people desire, and so I can appreciate that, but it's hard to understand. Next up is H.E.R, and she's wearing Carolina Herrera. I like the color of this suit. Listen, a nice sort of like, this feels like a subtle neon pink. In reality, neon pink usually is kind of like harsh. This feels a little bit more subtle, or maybe this isn't even neon. Maybe this is just bubblegum. I'm unsure. But I think the jacket fits beautifully. I really, really do. I think it's lovely. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's stunning. I do wish we'd maybe hemmed the pant just a tiny little bit. Just a tiny bit. Whatever leg it is that you can sort of see a divot in it, it just, that throws it off to me. But I appreciate that H.E.R always has her own aesthetic. She always sort of goes for a suit with a wide leg pant, and it's appreciable. That's her aesthetic. I think here she's doing it pretty well. I think the blazer fits stunning. The pants, they're fine. I wish they were just a tiny bit better, but I think she looks good. Next up is Halle Berry, and she's wearing Rick Owens, and this is such a hard thing for me because when I first saw it, I said, oh God, Halle, why do you keep letting them do this to you? And then I found out it was Rick Owens, and I was like, okay, like let me try and find if there's some sort of concept in there. I'm sure that there are Rick Owens collections where sequins are sort of utilized in this way, and again, that's appreciable. I love that concept. I like the fact that you can see sort of slivers of this jumpsuit throughout. So there are like the actual fabric, or maybe it's just the stitches. Elements of the stitches you can just sort of see, and they cut and they divide. I think that's really like a fun idea. I love the idea of it. I love the concept of it. I just think we gotta do something a little bit. Rick Owens, there is forever a kooky crazy look that you could wear. I don't know if this is exactly the one I would have chosen. Halle looks stun. Don't get that twisted for a second. She's a beautiful woman. And because it's her, she's kind of making me like it just a little bit more. But there are elements of it that really are distracting. I think at the knee, where those panels are sort of coming in, and again, like pattern making is very sort of important. You have these sort of, you know, stitches that are evidently cutting across at the knee. That's hard to sort of reckon with. Do you think where it sort of cuts in at like the pelvis, you know, that sort of element, I think that works. I think that's good. I think that's strong. I think that gives it a little bit of shape, a little bit of dimension. Also, I just wish that we hadn't had a sort of side cut or side slit on the pant. I think had it just been like skin tight at the bottom, like almost perfect with crazy kooky Rick Owens shoe. This is the time to wear the shit out of a crazy Rick shoe. And that wasn't really done. And I think that was another moment where you just sort of are like, ugh. From the knees up, maybe I am crazy. Maybe I need to take something, but kind of good. From the knee down, I think is where it's lost. If you're going to do something on this level of deranged in a beautiful, fun, artistic Rick Owens way, that's great, but we gotta finish it. Next up is Iman Shumpert, and I love Iman Shumpert, and I've seen him in Tom Brown before, so anything below that, I'm obviously going to be upset about. This jacket, I'm not sure where it comes from, what it is. I understand the idea of like the half tan, beige, and half black sort of jacket, and I get it, I understand it, with the collage sort of elements. Feels very maybe Raf Simmons-y, in my opinion. There's some sort of like puffer coat underneath with a black shirt, and then a leather embossed lizard crocodile pant, and a black sneaker with a white sole. Why do you do this to me? I can't defend these things. I've seen better from him. One cannot defend these things. You know what I mean? It's indefensible. There is nothing about this look that one says, oh, cohesion, oh, direction, excitement, oh, intrigue. It's just straight man left to his own devices, and we all know how those go. Next up is Jojo Siwa, and now this is my last niceness for Jojo, because I get it, she's young, I get it, blah blah blah, don't care. This plunging neckline with like a Swarovski crystal, pink to white descending pool in like a tiered moment. It's not good, it's not exciting, it's not intriguing. And here's the thing, Jojo has brands that I think 100% would line up with her. I mean, Area, I think, is a brilliant sort of example of that. Moschino makes 100% sense. If she had a stylist, they'd be able to, I don't know, accurately help her finesse that. Find a direction, find an element, find a coolness. And I think that there are ways to even go about, if she doesn't want to do the kooky crazy sort of like Jojo Bobo thing, to have somebody that really is able to channel your wardrobe in a way that is elevating you. Find a stylist that's not your mom. Please, don't get it twisted. I watch Dance Moms. Jessalyn, you're an icon. You are not a stylist. So, Jojo, find a stylist. Please and thank you. Somebody who is good. There are a lot of good ones in LA. Next up is Kim Kardashian. She is wearing Balenciaga. I believe she won an award. But it looks like it's a lace bodysuit with a dress on top. It's almost like a diet version of the Met Gala look. She has the big sort of like bug eye sunglasses. You're winning an award, Kimmy. Come on. Do a little more. Do a little bit excited. Do a little bit fun. A little bit intrigue. Next up is Kyle Richards. The Real Housewives are really disappointing. This tulle cocktail dress with a silver waistband. Kyle, what are you doing? This is a mess. Kyle, you know this is a disaster. I don't know what to say. I want to eviscerate her, but like, I watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I know Kyle's sensitive. It's not good. It's hideous. It's horrible. It doesn't do her any justice. I think that it only highlights the elements that we do not want to highlight. I just think it's like a shit dress. I understand Kyle is short, and so like dressing in that way is hard, but I think there are ways to go about this that actually would elevate, escalate. A-line dresses I think would be really, really fun. Baby doll dress. Like, go 1960s, Kyle, because this like knockoff Jon Batiste Cavalli shit, it's not a cute look. It's not working. It's not helping. It's not good. Go 60s, Kyle. Next up is Laverne Cox, and she's wearing Jean-Louis Sabaji. Honestly, I kind of am enjoying this to a degree. I think the philo plume feather moment in this purple is really fun, and I like the fact that it's actually utilizing not just the feather, but also the stem of the feather. I don't know what we would call that area of a feather, but as like an element of the design. I mean, the way that it sort of cuts into this black waistband, that's a little bit rough, but at least it's trying to utilize the whole sort of element as I don't know, a part of the look. I do wish that the black neckline had maybe been elevated with feathers in some way, because it feels a bit off that that hasn't been embellished or featherized in any sort of manner. While I do appreciate the idea of showcasing tears and allowing sheerness to go through, maybe a little bit more of a thickness with the feathers would have helped. I don't think the idea is terrible. I don't think the execution is absolutely horrible, but I think there are ways that this could have been elevated. The black band at the waist, not necessary, we know this. But I do think that at least it was an attempt to be interesting, exciting, fun. The purple looks nice. Laverne always tries, and that's very appreciable. Next up is Leslie Jones. She's wearing Christian Siriano. Now, I know people are like, why do you hate Christian Siriano? And it's like, why don't you hate Christian Siriano? I have nothing against him personally. I don't know him. But when something looks bad, my mind goes to it's Dior. Or it's Christian Siriano. Usually I'm right. Leslie is wearing a halter style, and I think she looks lovely. I like her in a halter. I think it's really fun. I think it's really sweet. I actually like the ruching that goes from the waist down. I do wish that we had just done ruching throughout the whole dress. I understand maybe logistically that wasn't exactly possible, but also try. That would help. But on top of that, the neon green with the heart bag and the white shoe, I think that's where we're lost here. It just feels all over the place. Let's do a bunch of things that are colorful and crazy and kooky, and that just doesn't help anybody whatsoever. And on top of that, the neon green color I just don't think does much justice. The way that it reflects off sort of washes out the dress, and so in reality it hurts itself in that regard. I love the cut and the silhouette. I think it's really beautiful, and I'm happy for Leslie. I think she looks gorgeous in that regard, but I think the styling aspect needs to be far more cohesive for these moments to really hit home. Next up is Lili Reinhart, and she's wearing Valentino. Now, this is from the fall 2021 collection. I believe it's ready to wear. Now, the thing about Valentino ready to wear is it's always going to be a lot subtler than the haute couture, which is big and bold and brash. And here, I don't think the concept of the black and the white is terrible. I think this sort of wool coat that's also partially a suit jacket plays on sort of different tropes of traditional tailoring, which I don't think is bad. But the other issue is you can't really see the little short shorts that are underneath, which hurts the look. And on top of it, when you look at what was in this collection, there was a lot of subtle moments like the jacket and the shorts, which aren't super duper in your face, over the top, exciting, but there were collars and, you know, different textiles in terms of the shirting underneath, and that's really what made it exciting. We can see, if you really zoom in, that there is a lace sort of shirt here, and there's a pussy bow blouse element too, but I think that utilizing one of the shirts that had these really dramatic oversized collars that jutted out would have given some sort of look at me moment. And I think in a look like this, you need to have a look at me element in order for it to be eye-catching. Whether it had been a black fishnet style that was put over this white top so that it created some sort of texture or some sort of intrigue, that would have been helpful. Whether it's the collar detail, maybe even like a crazy kooky shoe moment or a bag. There needed to be something else here that really brought it to the next level, or brought it to a level where one would care. And unfortunately, while the looks, in reality, would I wear the shit out of that jacket? Yeah. But it just doesn't hit home for a red carpet. Next up, we have Lisa Rinna. She's wearing Saint Laurent. Now, this dress, it's hard for me to redneckinize that this is Saint Laurent. The leg of mutton sleeve is sort of the drawing aspect. It's the thing that you're really looking at. And I don't think that's terrible. I think Anthony Vaccarello at Saint Laurent has consistently utilized shoulders in all different sort of facets and fashions as eye-catching and the thing that you look towards. In terms of leg of mutton, big sort of poofy, yeah, sure, okay. But the issue is the rest of the dress just falls really flat. The fact that you can see the darts and the seams and the waist sort of stitch is really hard to look at, especially when it's just such a simple dress. In that regard, it just doesn't feel elegant. It doesn't feel exciting. It doesn't feel like it's Saint Laurent. And that's really all there is to talk about when it comes to this look. I think that had we pulled out something a bit more exciting, a bit more fun, a bit more Saint Laurent, we would have had something to really truly look at. But unfortunately, it's just a leg of mutton sleeve dress with bad pattern making. Next up is Mindy Kaling. She's wearing Pamela Roland. Mindy. We've had like good Mindy moments, and this is not one of them. Black dress, little sort of tiny cap sleeve, embroidery that trims the neckline and creates a cutout. And I like the idea that she's going for a cutout. It's just, I don't think Pamela Roland is the designer that one would say, oh, cutouts, wow. The little specks of silver throughout the dress are like fine, but again, it's just, there's not much to look at. There's not much exciting. There's not much intrigue. There's not much that one would really care for, and so that's unfortunate. Then we had Paris Jackson. Now she's wearing Vivienne Westwood. I believe that this is from a few seasons ago. We've also seen Doja Cat wear it. The thing about Doja is she's kooky and she's crazy, and you can't take that from her whatsoever, and so it's understandable why she would wear such a thing. But with Paris, I am confused. So many Westwood looks that don't really get worn on the red carpet, that those could have been pulled out. And it's not to be like, oh, let's compare two women and, you know, they can't wear the same dress, outfit repeating. It's not that. I just think when it comes to a brand like Westwood that's not super duper heavy in terms of red carpet wear, and there are tons of collections and lines the brand does that could be utilized here. I don't know why we would utilize a look that's already been worn and a brown silk dress that has a purple trim to it and a big spool out of the silk on the side and then a floral shoe. It just doesn't make sense. Also, like, you're a Jackson. I'm not saying you have to dress like Michael, but like, I'm sure there's a budget for clothing. Next up is Porsha Williams, and she is wearing Valdrin Sahidi. It's a dress that in reality, I think when I look at the other Valdrin Sahidi looks, I say, why? There's a lot of sort of crystallization and cutouts that go on in a Valdrin Sahidi sort of moment from what I can see, and they seem so much cleaner, so much chicer, so much cooler, that this is just blah. The neckline is strange. It's like square, and then it dips in, and then it's like an off-the-shoulder but sleeve dress. There's a boning sort of sheer element that cuts across the waist, which feels strange, and then a very high slit on the side, and it's not a great dress. And on top of it, it doesn't really look like it fits super duper well. The sleeves are rough, to say the least. They just look like they're too big. Cut of, you know, the square doesn't accentuate anything nor help anything. And that's a shame, because I feel like Porsha really could give it to the girls. And this is not giving it. Next up is Sutton Stracke, and she's wearing Alexander McQueen. And listen, it's not Dolce & Gabbana, so like, we're good on that. But it's a look from fall 2021, but it's been changed. So essentially, it's a motorcycle jacket sort of vest that has a puffed sleeve that's made up of black and pink and light pink and little speckles of black, sort of poofy, and it's big. But what Sutton has done is she's added a black pencil skirt, which in the concept of McQueen, a pencil skirt, a really tight fitted skirt makes sense, tailoring, etc., etc. Like, I can see where we were going with it. I just think that the full skirt would have been far more exciting and fun and intriguing and enticing, because when you just look at the sleeves with the rest of the black leather look, it doesn't really deliver. On top of that, the shoe choice is very questionable. There needs to be some help. It's a red carpet, you know what I mean? It's not a luncheon. Next up, we have Sydney Sweeney, and she is wearing Saint Laurent. Now, this is a sort of silky little moment. It has a big bow, and then it's pretty much just like a tube top kind of dress in black velvet. I don't think it's horrible, but again, I don't think it's really super exciting. I don't think it's super fun. I don't think it's super funky. It feels like it could have been done more. So I understand Anthony Vaccarello is a lot more minimalistic with the Saint Laurent archive, 100%. I get it. And finally, we have Tinx. She is another TikToker, and she is wearing Dior here. Now, it's a strapless red dress, and it has, of course, Maria Grazia's famous little mini skinny belt. There's a Canage sort of Dior little mini bag and a metallic-y sort of shoe. I appreciate the fact that, like, at least with this Dior look, it's cohesive in terms of Dior history. It's pretty much a sort of minimal new look cut and silhouette, done with a Canage bag, which, you know, references Dior's love of those little chairs made out of like wicker that sit on all of the little patios outside of bistros in Paris. I understand the elements. I just think that when it comes to the bag and the shoes, we could have played those things together a lot more, whether it was a red bag or whether it was like a goldish sort of bag that played off the shoes, or maybe the shoes had been black. Like there just could have been something to tie these three different Dior elements together, and that's where I'm lost. I don't completely hate the dress because at least it fits. Can't say that for a lot of the things here today. So as for the worst dress, I could say all of them. Best dressed, there literally is not a best dress. I can't. I just cannot. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry that you had to. I will see you guys on the next one, and TTYL.